Hi guys, back with another video. So in this video, we are going to talk about emotional intelligence. And the best thing is that I was just going through something I was reading about. I was just doing my assignment actually. And here it is. I just hope you can see it. And yeah, I hope you got a look of that. So yeah, so the thing which came to my mind is how I kind of have this feeling that emotional intelligence has not yet got the spotlight, the center stage, as it deserves. It is beginning to, people are beginning to realize, the society, the community, the startup atmosphere, the ecosystem is beginning to understand. And one of the most renowned speakers worldwide, Gary Vaynerchuk, has also predicted that the future is all about emotional intelligence, right? So why am I making this video? What I have, what do I have to share, what do I have to say? So let's come to that. One of the things which is in my mind and which I've always constantly experienced and felt is that people generally have sort of like a good regard when it comes to intelligence of a person, right? People really value that. Oh my god, he's really smart. Oh my god, he's able to do that and this. Emotional intelligence, on the other hand, has not yet been recognized itself. People don't even, it is so unrecognized. People do not even consider evaluating an emotional intelligence of a person, right? And that is something which I would like to talk about. I mean, come on guys, it is really valuable. It's really hard. Today I am going to talk about how possibly emotional intelligence could be equal, or could be much more complex than what people think it is, right? And it's not easy, uh, to process something out of emotional intelligence, to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to understand that dimension also requires very high level of maturity. Could be one of the reasons why it has not been recognized, right? So let's just begin the topic about this. Okay, so to give you a good picture, to start things, let's just come to one of the things. uh, Robots can have compute millions of calculations in a second, right? But it is difficult to display any any emotion, even the simplest ones, like their happiness. Happiness is an emotion. And sympathy is an emotion, right? Empathy is an emotion. Empathy is like, okay, this is a far more complicated thing for a robot to do. But sympathy, empathy, happiness, right, being able to respond to another person who's speaking to a robot in feelings, is something which has not yet been done. And as far as I understand, and as I have been reading, and as I see the development of robots, we are decades and decades far, right? You can be happy that when it comes to robots mingling and interacting with human beings, having emotions, they are, at least today, it is 18th January 2020, and I would like to give a small prediction. At least 10 years, 2030, at least by 2030. Before that, we cannot expect any a robot having sort of like emotions to be displayed in a conversation, right? Like you're conversing with the robot, and you said, robot, I feel that you're very dumb. And the robot responds by showing, he's frowning, right? Having to display responsive emotions in a robot is something which will be possible at least 20, at least 10, 15 years from now. It's very, very far. So I want to bring you back to the topic, and I want you to correlate this. People think being able to calculate fast and all these aspects, is much more is something which is valued, right? But being able to process one's own emotion and others emotion is not something so valued, right? But when you try to emulate that in a robot, you understand that emotions are much more complicated than this one. Emotions are much more complicated than mathematical calculations, right? And this is one of the proof how difficult it is to process emotions. And I was able to understand one more dimension, and I would like to present that to you. See, how I was able to think about it. See, I was, the thing is, I was reading, I was basically preparing, and like a realization came, and that's the reason why I wanted to share this. See, the thing is, when you are painting, when you're doing anything, so let us assume that you're inventing something, right? And you're doing a you're building a theory, like some, how to fly and all those things, aviation. You're building a some model, right? The Every aspect of that has logical correlation. Logical, your next step will be logically correlated with this step, and you will be able to, you're 100% sure that this step is right, because the previous step, there is some logical correlation, right? Okay, I'll give you an example, right? So a square, a plus b the whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. Okay, you can literally prove the you can, a plus b the whole square, you can square it, and once you square that, whatever it is, you can prove it that, see bhai, this is equal to this. When you try to build, see, when scientists, there are scientists which are do, or researchers which perform mathematical research, and there is another aspect of research which is behavioral research, which is, which talk about aspects like personality. How many types of personality are there? Psychological functions, right? So people think that, this is much more. See, we tend to use much more of the aspects which are, which we which, see, most of our everyday items, most of the things, we have sort of like the phones, right? Like the laptop, like most of that use mathematical dimensions, right? But most of our day-to-day lives, right, they use behavioral aspects, right? What type of a person you are, what is the best career for you, right? What is the best what type of partner, what type of friends will best suit your behavior type. We have not yet, as a civilization, matured to understand or give importance to these aspects. That's something which I wanted to really bring to light, right? You might be not, you're not understanding what is the best fit for, best personality type fit for you, right? Because you have not explored yourself, and you don't know what personality type you are, and maybe you're trying to, find people with, you're trying to find partners, friends, colleagues, right? With people, you're trying to associate with people who have the wrong personality types. What if you were educated, and if you are aware of your personality type, and you are aware about what type of personality types are compatible to this personality type, right? There are a lot of ego states, like ego state not in the normal. See, in when we come to behavioral research and aspects like that, the word ego does not means a person's arrogance or something like that, right? Ego means ego state means parent ego state, child ego state, and adult ego state. These are ego states which are all present in a human being, and we tend to, have one dominant ego state, wherein a person who is like a parent ego state, something which I think I am, okay, tends to have a nurturing type of dominant ego. And a person who has adult ego state tends to most of the time display very rational, logical behavior. A person who has child ego state might be 50 years old, but will be very childish, or someone who gets very easily agitated, very easily irritated, not does not tend to be so logically, inclined when it comes to lot of choices in life. So all of these things are a part of psychological research, behavioral research, right? Now I want you to imagine something, right? I want you to think about, I'll just bring this a little closer. Yeah. So now I want you to think about something, okay? So when I was, studying about, Carl Jung's personality theory, I was just doing that as a part of my assignment. And what happened was that, see, he he proposed that there are 8 personality types, right? And I want you to understand that there are probably like 10 billion people in the world, or how many ever people, there are a lot of people in the world. He said that there are 8 personality types. 8. That, what that means, that there are only 8 types of people, and there are, combination of these 8 types. And with the combination of these 8 types, you can understand each and every single of the 10 billion people, right? See, and then he said that there are 4 psychological functions, right? He further structured and categorized and organized psychological functions like thinking and feeling. These are rational psychological functions. And he then what else was there? Yeah, sensation and intuition. Sensation, how do you react to external? Intuition, being able to sort of internally imagine or visualize something which is going, precognition, something which is going to happen in the future. Intuition, right? These are irrational psychological functions or capabilities. So he has categorized or structured all these dimensions of life, right? And I want you to understand that these are not logical things, right? Have you ever painted in light? You would have sketched something, right? Now do one thing, go in the dark room and sketch the same thing, right? You must be like, Shreyas, why do you have to say something which is painting in the light and painting in the dark? Baba, the thing what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to relate how difficult it is to do behavioral research, right? When you're doing research which is intelligence, like intelligence based research, everything has a logical correlation. This step is like this step is like this step is like this. You can calculate, do some calculation in the back. Okay, proved, hence proved. This is the thing. When you're doing behavioral research, the steps are not logically related. They are not logically related. And yet you are able to construct something, right? And they are correct. Now I want you to, just stop for a second and just think about it. Something is correct and something has been arranged. See, this is like this is like this is like this, but there is no logical way to prove it. When you have to prove something, right? You're just imagine you have to prove something, right? But you have to prove it without using logic, or there is no chance or opportunity, right, or freedom to use logic there. Can you use logic when you're defining something about behavior? No, you can't, because that feasibility, that availability is not there, right? Logic does not play a role when it comes to lot of the dimension or aspects related to behavior, right? Love, or sympathy, empathy, happiness, sadness, and sensations. Where is logic? Logic is, see, you might say that something is like this, something is like that, he responded like this. No, 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 no. Feelings, aspects like this, right? When you're researching them, when you're organizing them and structuring them on a general basis without response, right? Something happened and this was the response. No, that's not happening. In research, they're organizing this, right? That means when you're structuring and organizing this, there is no two people, there is one aspect, and you're sort of like, researching and organizing this, right? So when there is no two people, there is only, you're researching about this, right? How can you bring, when you're researching about just one person is researching about love, or is researching about sympathy, empathy, right? Where is the logic here that you can apply to understand the dimensions. So now I would like to say to you, and now I would like you to think that uh, when something has to be defined without the help of logic, imagine the brain analysis, the processing that has gone into defining these aspects, right? I want to really request you to possibly look into the works of Carl Jung, right? An amazing person. The more I sort of, because of my assignments I read, okay, I'll not cheat right now here, or try to possibly share the possibly say that I was out of the way, or out of sort of reading habit, went and started reading about Carl Jung. No, it was something related to assignments. But if you would really like to know more about yourself and all these things, right? Carl Jung is something that you could read about, and you will be able to understand yourself in a more better way. Because aspects like personality, what are the different types of personalities. See, let me share this with you right now. Okay, well, let's do one thing. This is possibly going to 16 minutes, which is something people generally say that don't make it too long and all. So I'll do is I'll make it in two parts, and we'll continue our conversation in the part 2 of the video, right? And so yeah, in the next part, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how emotional intelligence, how important it is, and some more dimensions, or how it is relevant and important to you, right? We'll just take a better and deeper look into that, right? So see you in the second video. Bye.